and also the escapees are on the run. Which way forward? We do have a one-on-one interview with an aspirant and presidential hopeful of the 2022 presidential race, MUKHISA KITUVI. If spoke to Frederick Muitiridi on his ambition. Will he be joining ODM or not? We shall be finding out on this broadcast. I'm your host, Cliff Ondubi. Not forgetting Teresia Washira on the sign language interpreting desk. But first, here are the highlights. Tables turn as ex-prison's boss WYCLIFF OGALLO is arrested moments after being fired. The prison's facelift continues as President Uhuru Kenyatta asks CS Matiang'i to spare no resource in pursuing and capturing the KAMITI escapees. The ghosts of corruption haunt the judiciary after former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko exposed the Justice CHITEMBWE of bribery as LSK threatened to boycott his court if investigations are not done in 14 days. And tonight, presidential hopeful MUKHISA KITUVI hints at working with ODM in the upcoming 2022 general polls. Right, in 45 minutes, we shall be having a comprehensive broadcast. Remember, it is broadcasted live across our social media handles, Switch TV Kenya, on Facebook, Switch TV KE, on Twitter, not forgetting www.switchtv.ke, and our 45 minutes of the broadcast begins now. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Kenya on his first official visit to Africa. He has just given a press briefing issuing a travel advisory for American citizens in Ethiopia. He was alongside Foreign Cabinet Secretary Rachel Omamo for this brief where he gave in the afternoon. Let's listen in.
Antony Blinken's visit comes just a day after a deadly terror attack in neighboring Uganda and amid a humanitarian crisis in Ethiopia following tensions from the Tigray rebel group, sending panic across the East African region.
The conflict in Ethiopia is a threat to peace and security in the Horn of Africa. And that is of deep concern to us too, and it's of deep concern to our partners, including here in Kenya. So we're looking for all sides, as I said, to step back. The TPLF and the OLA should halt their advance on Addis. We'd like to see the parties come together at the table to put in place a cessation of hostilities.
Among his top priorities is resolving the conflict in Ethiopia just days after President Uhuru Kenyatta visited the country and had talks with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed.
Once we get all the analysis that goes into looking at the facts and looking at the law. Regardless of that, the fact is that we continue to see atrocities being committed, people suffering, and regardless of what we call it, it needs to stop. And there needs to be accountability.
Not give up hope in the people of Ethiopia. We must remain steadfast in being positive and being engaged in this crisis.
Today morning, Blinken met with leaders of civil societies in Kenya, charting on democracy even as Kenya heads to the polls in 2022, giving a stern warning to Kenyan leaders.
Legitimate security concerns, the rule of law and human rights are safeguarded. That's how to build public trust in public institutions. We also discussed next year's elections. As we look ahead to 2022, it's critical that all parties, the government, opposition parties, civil society, work together to ensure safe and stable elections that reflect the will of the Kenyan people.
A meeting with President Kenyatta at State House followed, which covered a wide array of issues, among them COVID-19 and climate change. The U.S. delegation has acknowledged Kenya's role in diplomatic efforts in neighboring countries to avoid potential conflicts. Shilangetich, Switch TV.
All right, thank you, Shilangetich, for that story. To some other news now, to the intrigue surrounding the prison department, where former Commissioner General of Prisons WYCLIFF OGALLO was arrested moments after President Uhuru Kenyatta announced his sacking OGALLO and 2 other top officers at KAMITI prisons were arrested from Magereza building on Wednesday and taken to DCI for grilling. He, alongside the commandant of KAMITI prisons, Charles Mutembe'i, and his deputy were being grilled at the DCI headquarters over the escape of 3 escapees. Opening breaking today is now Daniel Anunda with the intrigue surrounding the prison department.
WYCLIFF OGALLO has been arrested by the anti-terror squad moments after being fired by President Kenyatta following security breaches at the KAMITI maximum security prison that led to the escape of 3 terror convicts. OGALLO has served in the position since March 2019. He has been replaced by retired Brigadier John Kibaso Warioba.
I, John Kibaso Warioba, do swear that I will well and truly serve the Republic of Kenya in the office of the Commissioner General of Kenya Prison Service, and that I will do justice in accordance with this Constitution of Kenya as by law established and in accordance with the laws and customs of the Republic without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
Meanwhile, as security agents intensify efforts in search of the 3 terror suspects, a section of Kenyans have expressed fear over their security. This comes after twin explosions rocked neighboring Uganda's capital, Kampala, in what police described as a coordinated attack.
Kama waliweza kutoka gereza, wakapenya mpaka wakatoka, na gereza inajulikana, ulinzi mkali ndio kuko kule, huku wananchi wanaoishi, kuna ulinzi mgani?
The government has continuously assured Kenyans about the security even during this period. However, it is upon you as a citizen to ensure that you are aware of your surroundings and report any strange activities. Reporting for Switch TV, I'm Daniel Anunda.
All right, let's now head to the corridors of justice, where the Law Society of Kenya has given the Judicial Service Commission 14 days to launch investigations against High Court Judge CHITEMBWE over allegations of corruption. This comes after former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko exposed the judge through a video showing him discussing on how to compromise a case. CHITEMBWE with more.
The Law Society of Kenya Nairobi branch has given the Judicial Service Commission 14 days to expedite investigations into High Court Judge said CHITEMBWE over allegations of corruption leveled against him, failure to which Nairobi advocates will forcefully eject him from office. The branch chairman Eric Theory has reacted to a video posted online by former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko allegedly showing the judge discussing how to compromise a case.
The allegations made are serious and require urgent and immediate response from both the judge and the Judicial Service Commission, which has the constitutional mandate to investigate cases of judicial misconduct. The allegations, left unanswered, make it extremely difficult for the judge to continue to render his duties to the public.
According to Theory, Justice CHITEMBWE cannot continue being in office as he faces allegations touching on his conduct of work, asking the judge to resign immediately. He has also threatened that lawyers will boycott Judge CHITEMBWE'S court until the allegations leveled are processed by the JSC.
The Law Society of Kenya Nairobi branch has noted with concern a recent decision made by a 3-judge bench presided over by Justice CHITEMBWE, where the judges made a decision whose import is to shield judges from being held accountable for any allegations made against them by a state organ.
CHITEMBWE was one of the 2 judges arrested in July after police said they got a tip-off that they had intended to receive a bribe of 7 million shillings. CHITEMBWE, Switch TV.
Right, let's now get to the political ring, where as the 2022 general election campaigns temperatures heighten, Deputy President William Ruto was in Tharaka Nithi, where he continued his charm offensive in the Mount Kenya region. The Deputy President took his campaign where he pledged to support the small and micro enterprises when he assumes office in the next year race.
Mtu ambaye ako na agenda ya kiuchumi na anaizungumzia 90% ya population ya watu wa Kenya, ambao hivi sasa yeye na sisi tutashikana mikono kuunda serikali mwaka ujao.
Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, kama unatuletea Raila Odinga kuchukua kiti ya president, tumekataa. Tumefanya nini? Munataka Raila? Munataka Raila? Munataka Raila?
Muranga huko tunasema hasla. Na hapa je? Hapa je?
Mnakubaliana na wale bwana Kitendawili anasema tubadilishe katiba, sijui tubadilishe nini, tuongeze mamlaka ya rais, tuongeze mamlaka ya nani? Ama mnataka tubadilishe uchumi kwanza? Tubadilishe uchumi ama katiba? Ni katiba ama uchumi? Tubadilishe uchumi kwanza? Hebu nione wala wanasema tubadilishe uchumi kwanza.
Still in politics, the deputies are elected on a ticket with their counterparts for 5 years term. Their mandate being to serve in as acting governor or president in the absence of their heads, which makes a whole job in selecting the right person who to work with. As Mariam Jahid delves with the details, according to political analyst Martin Andati, most heads choose their deputies to complement their leadership, but it turns out not being compatible after the assumption of office.
The deputy governors are the next in line should the governor be impeached or die while in office, as was the case in Nairobi County, and Kananu took over after Michael Sonko was impeached late last year. The constitution, however, does not stipulate any ways in which a deputy governor can be removed from office, making the position a safe haven. Since devolution started, there has been cases of deputies being at loggerheads with their governors, and political analyst Martin Andati cites political interest as the main cause of most fallouts.
Then you have cases where you have a deputy who feels with the time that they also want to become governors. Ambitions drive them. So that causes a disagreement. There are others who feel they have been given a raw deal in terms of sharing the resources that are available in the county, in terms of jobs, in terms of business opportunities. So that also causes a problem.
The victims here would be the citizens, because the process of implementation of the constitution and development of county structures might stall if the county bosses are not in good terms. Does the solution lie in changing the constitution to allow for the change or impeachment of a deputy governor?
Katiba imeeleza bayana kwamba rais ama gavana akitolewa, yule naibu wake ndiye atachukua zile hatamu bila kupitia kwa uchaguzi. Kwa hivyo wakati mtu anachagua yule ambaye anakuwa mgombezi mwenza, lazima afikirie hilo swala na alitilie maanani. Kwa hivyo haitakani zile nguvu zao kupunguzwa, inabakia vile vilivyo.
Earlier today, newly sworn in Nairobi Governor Anne Kananu has nominated former Councillor Paul Mutunga Mutungi as her deputy.
Politics is about numbers, so they want somebody who either brings numbers or somebody who is able to bring in serious numbers of votes. They also consider regional balance. They also, of course, gender has now become an issue. And you expect somebody who will be able to fill up the gaps that you could be having in terms of performance as an individual. That is supposed to be the ideal arrangement.
The caution in choosing a deputy does not only apply in the county level, but reflects to the nation top seat. Until now, presidential aspirants have not yet announced their deputies, weighing in between choosing one who will aid in securing the victory and one who will make it their service delivery smooth once elected into office. There have been rising cases of deputies having a rift with their counterparts after they assume office. Is it coincidental or intentional? Reporting for Switch, I'm Mariam Mjahid.
Thank you, Mariam Jahid. That story takes us to 13 minutes past the hour. Let's go on our first break. When we come back, we have a one-on-one interview with MUKHISA KITUVI on his presidential ambition. All right, welcome back to Breaking Today, taking into account the latest news of the day. Now, the 8th East Africa Health and Scientific Research Conference was today officially opened by Health CAS Mercy Mwangangi. The annual conference is the first of its kind held annually, with this year's main focus being the East Africa Community's Sustainable Development Goal on health, reflection, and the path ahead of 2030. The COVID-19 having been a big challenge to the health sector, discussion on how to develop a regional manufacturer of vaccines in the East Africa region are but a few of the discussions at the conference this year, even as the country aims to vaccinate 10 million Kenyans by the end of December 2021. Now, this is the second time Kenya is hosting this conference, having hosted the third one of its kind,
which is talking about scientific matters, especially on health. It is an initiative of East African Community, and it is the institution, East African Health Research Commission, which is coordinating this conference. We have so far at the East African Community level, we have a response plan. This response plan is including all matters on the integration of the EAC. So in this response plan, we have, of course, health.
Parts that have been will be shared by the scientists, and we will be looking eagerly to see whether the new ways of solving some of these problems within our setting in the East Africa region.
All right, to some business matters now, where the Kenyan government has today been given an opportunity by the Chinese government for local investors to partner in helping the Kenyan economy expand. Kenya has been ranked as the fourth fastest growing economy in Africa and the first in East Africa. Damaris Nyambura with more.
The Expo, organized by the Kenya National Chambers of Commerce and Industry in conjunction with AfriPeak Expo Kenya Limited, will give businesses an avenue to showcase their businesses as well as promote the recovery of the economy that was adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking during the launch of the event, First Vice President of KNCCI, Eric RUTO, said that the Expo will be a good opportunity to build a great business rapport between the two countries.
As Kenya business community, we want not to hit the 34-to-1 ratio, but we want a very good relationship between ourselves in Kenya here and in Africa, so that we can be able to bring that balance of trade.
Pius Rotich, the General Manager of Investment Promotion and Business Development, has said that this is a good opportunity for Kenya to benefit from technological training from businesses in China.
This exhibition, we see a sign of acknowledgement of the weight of the intellectual diversity of labor and technological potential of our countries. And of course, this is a sign of growing interest by entrepreneurs from various countries from all over the world, and especially from China market.
The three-day expo, under the theme Building a Strong Manufacturing Sector Amidst COVID-19, will see the participation of 105 companies as they build networks for future business partnership. As Kenya continues to partner with China, the mission of this partnership is to create a good relation between Kenya and the world. Reporting for Switch TV, my name is Damaris Nyambura.
All right, elsewhere, the U.S. stocks have advanced and bolstered by better than expected, according to economic data. The Dow Jones Industrial Average increased by 54.77 points, or 0.15% to 36,142. The S&P 500 rose by 18.10 points, or 0.39% to 4,700, while the Nasdaq Composite Index jumped by 120.01 points, or 0.76% to 15,973.
Four of the primary S&P 500 sectors ended in green, with consumer discretionary and technology up 1.38% and 1.07% respectively, leading the gainers. Real estate slipped 0.65%, the worst performing group. US-listed Chinese companies traded mostly higher, with 9 of the top 10 stocks by weight in the S&P US-listed China 50 index ending the day on an upbeat note. On the data front, U.S. Commerce Department reported on Tuesday that U.S. retail sales rose 1.7% in October, beating market expectations and showing American consumer spending remains strong. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve reported that U.S. industrial production rose 1.6% in October after a 1.3% plunge in September, beating market estimates. Lincoln Wambogo, Switch TV News.
Right, thank you, Lincoln Wambugu, for that story. Now, the Afghan Taliban has removed a mass of blast walls and concrete barricades in the capital, Kabul, a move raising hope for lasting security that was welcomed by local residents. The roadblocks, blast walls and checkpoints had been put on many roads and streets in Kabul for scrutiny as concerns of terrorism were growing, which had caused traffic havoc and making it difficult for people to commute. The move to pull down the barricades and resume traffic on the roads has been welcomed by local residents. The process to demolish the barriers started in late August. The Kabul municipal government had previously said that it will actively carry out various municipal works.
To take this road to get in and out of my house in the past, but the road was open only to pedestrians and closed to vehicle traffic. It's much better now with these roads open to the traffic. These roads were blocked in the past. Take soundbite. These roads were blocked in the past. It was very troublesome for us if we have a patient at home who needs to see a doctor. Even if the straight line distance is close, we could not get to the hospital in a short time. Now we are very happy as most of the roads are open.
Now, a joint meeting led by Russian ministerial coordination committees has been held in Damascus on to further discussion the return of Syrian refugees, in addition to representatives of Syria and Russia, representatives of the United Nations, the International Committee of the Red Cross and other humanitarian organizations also attended the meeting. Let's take a look.
Syrian Minister of Local Administration and Environment Hussein Makhlouf said that the meeting held last year in Damascus has gained a significant achievement, as with the help of the Syrian government and friendly countries, hundreds of thousands of Syrian refugees have returned home. The minister also said that the Syrian government will continue to improve infrastructure and provide the necessary medical and educational guarantees to ensure a stable life for the returning refugees.
I mean, it's very clear to us that the reasons that most of these refugees that have fled in the first place have not been resolved at all. In the past decade, we've seen the Syrian government continue to commit the same abuses that they've committed since 2011, with no reform in sight, with no change in sight.
The representative of the Syrian Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that although some progress has been made, the return of Syrian refugees is still difficult. In particular, the occupation and seizure of parts of Syrian territory by the United States and Turkey have created huge obstacles and challenges for refugees to return home.
The evidence that we have clearly shows that Syrian refugees are at risk of persecution, and any kind of call for Syrians to return prematurely is only going to result in them facing serious risks and even death. These kinds of calls are not grounded in reality.
According to statistics, there are still 6 million Syrian refugees stranded in other countries. Kefa Lemayan for Switch TV.
And finally, presidential hopeful MUKHISA KITUVI is optimistic over possible pact with the Orange Democratic Party as the 2022 campaigns heats up. In an exclusive interview with our very own Frederick Muitiriri, MUKHISA says he's making campaign inroads in the grassroots despite his silence. Let's listen in.
Like I've mentioned some other conversations recently, because I'd been out of the country for so long, I didn't think it was right for me to come and just jump into public rallies. So what I've done is that I do, in many parts of the country, focus group meetings in constituencies. This way I've covered every constituency in Kwale, for example, every constituency in Mombasa County, half of the constituencies in Kilifi, about 2 counties in North Rift, 2 of the counties in Western. basically trying to sit down with people and say, introduce myself, who I am, what I stand for, start establishing, influencers, mobilizers on the ground. But while this has been going on, there are two other things that have also slowed down my rollout of the public phase of my campaign. Of course, first was the COVID restrictions, which are now out of the way, and that has been helpful. But another, I don't believe that a Lone Ranger campaign at this time, when coming so late into the campaign, is a viable way to really be a serious contender for power. So I have been consulting people in different coalitions, people who are independent, the teams, and some of those conversations are ongoing. For example, there was a moment when we are having very serious discussions with Muungano Party of Professor Kivuda Kibwana and the people of my party information, whether we should, instead of having a coalition, bond and build a rapprochement for us to launch as one party.
I have seen already Kivuda Kibwana has crossed borders and he has gone to ODM. He'll be supporting Odinga.
No, he has not gone to ODM. He has hosted Raila's meeting in Wote to say that of the coalitions that are emerging, he aligns with that side as opposed to the side of Ruto. To my understanding, that is different from joining ODM. The last time I spoke to him, which was yesterday, he didn't give me the impression that he was at any one moment considering joining ODM. The Kenya government lives way beyond its means. Because of that, it is virtually the only one borrowing from the commercial banking sector in Kenya. Government is borrowing money so generously that no rational banker will risk lending money to entrepreneurs. So what you want to do is restrain government from living beyond its means, to free credit in a marketplace to go to enterprise. It doesn't make any sense that government is borrowing money and then it gets some small packets of money that it throws at people as youth fund or women fund. That is not how economies grow. Lower the cost of credit, enhance availability of credit by reducing government competing in the financial markets with citizens in the territory.
All right, for the full interview, do tune in tomorrow at exactly 7 p.m. For the comprehensive tete-a-tete with MUKHISA KITUVI there, Frederick Mwitiriri, having a good one. And he says definitely that he might be joining ODM. Who knows, politics a day can be so long. Now, that story brings us to the end of Breaking Today tonight, but keep watching Switch TV for our subsequent programming. My camera person today has been Sydney. Lincoln Wambugu has been my producer, Bobby Ogola. My director, Teresia Washira, has been my sign language interpreter. I'm Clifford Duby. Do have a good evening.